Thank you to DistroKid for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. So I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 2000s, and it was this decade, this era, that introduced me to not only production, but hip-hop in general. Now, of course, once you find your entrance, whatever that may be, you start to dig a little deeper, and you learn about the legends like the Dillas and the Primos. But for me, I learned about hip-hop through guys like Timbaland, the Neptunes, Jermaine Dupri, Manny Fresh, and so many more. Now, the production style of the 2000s was special because it was characterized by a lot of bounce, right? The drums oftentimes were unquantized, there were a lot of percussion, it was made up of a lot of horns, strings, and it was just really, really fun to listen to. And today I want to see if I can make something along those lines. Now, before we get started, if you are in the beginning of your production journey, or if you just need a little bit more clarity, then don't forget to download my free 6-step guide to producing a professional beat. This is a simple PDF guide that you can use as a roadmap to get you going and help you create beats without breaking the bank in as little as 1 hour. So if you want to pick that up, click the first link down below. Okay, so first things first, let's get the tempo down. The key we'll figure out later once you start programming things, but let's see here. So it'll be like, let me see what that sounds like. Let me bring it down a little bit slower, actually. Okay, so I want to start off with the drums because arguably this is the most important part. Let's go ahead. I have a cadence already in my head. I kind of just beatboxed it a little bit, but I am using sample 1. I'm using my toolbar here. I'll link it down below as well if you want to check it out. But I'm doing a 2 and 4, so it'll be like a and then I am going to change these samples out in a little bit because these do not fit. These are just placeholders that I have in my template. But let's go ahead and get the kick. So it'll be like a one here. And honestly, it might just repeat. Now, I am going to add some percussion and I'm going to make that unquantized, but for this, I do want to keep this on beat just because it'll help me a little bit better. And at least it'll help people who's listening also keep time while still get the swing of the unquantized production, if that makes any sense. Now, I think I do want to change the sounds now because everything that I add later is going to be building upon what we had. So let me find some new sounds here. Okay, check it out. Perfect. Let's get a hi-hat going. And for this, I am going to play these live. I don't want these quantized. Perfect. Now we need that quintessential rim shot on the back end of the snare. So let me bring in another sample 1 here. Let me put these in the same sort of like room. Add a little bit of room reverb. Just kind of glues them together. Okay, we need way more percussion in here. So let's go ahead and add a clap. I did find this one. So what I'm going to do here is sample 1, 2, and 4, but we're going to only do every other one. Give this one a little bit more of a reverb. Bring this down. Okay, so I added this shaker, but I feel like we still need some sort of like in-betweens when it comes to percussions. So it'll be like a... something like that. So let's see, maybe we can get some bongos. Okay, let's see what we can add. I kind of want to double the hi-hats up with something from Easy Drummer, just to kind of give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more live feel. We'll find something here. And then maybe like some other clap. Something there. So we'll see. Okay, I think we have a pretty good foundation for these drums, but this would not be finished if we didn't add the cowbell. So a lot of the sounds that people used in these songs came from workstations and synths like the Korg Triton or the Phantom. Now, obviously, I don't have those instruments, but I do have the next best thing, and that is the VST version of these instruments. Now, of course, they include some of the iconic sounds that we know, and that is just one. About to start Harlem shaking over here. Okay, couple different things here, because we can add a lot more. The first thing is I think it'd be dope to have some sort of instrument kind of doing the same cadence as like the cowbell, like a dun 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 dun, because that was also really popular. So we could add that. I also want to add some strings and maybe like a call and response type of melody, so I can duplicate this entire section, and then on the second one do something a little bit different. So let's see. I'm sorry if you guys can't see me. I switched the big keyboard off the screen, so I'll make sure that I get a camera for that next time. Now this does need a little bit of love. I'm thinking maybe like a reverb, and then maybe like a bit of a murder melodies here. All right, so check it out. This has become one of my favorite new plugins because of all the things that it can do. I spread it out a little bit. Let's see, added some, I don't even know what this is, clarity, rhythmic delay. I added some of the heat. Oh, adds warm saturation. Oh, what an idiot. It tells you at the bottom. What does that do then? Rhythmic delay. Adds presence and clarity. Okay, that's still very vague. But either way, these are the strings. Woo! Okay, let's keep it moving. I still want to add that dun, 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 along with that second half of it. So let's bring that in. All right, y'all, check it out. So I added 2 more instances of the Triton, and on the first one we have this synth from the Strato Chime preset, and I basically just played it the same note. Well, with one little note in between. And then I also added a bass here. This one is from the Digi Syn bass in the bass section. So far, our melodic section sounds like this. Woo! And together with the drums. Perfect. So, very last thing here, I think, is let's just duplicate this. And then what I'm going to do is maybe take away the guitar and then add some sort of other melody to make it a call and response type of thing. So let me bring something in here. Okay, so I brought in a flute. I believe this is also one of the popular sounds. It is the bamboo silver flute. Right? So let's see if we can create a nice little melody here for that second half. Okay, so I think I'm done. Now, if you're new here, I usually tend to focus the first half of my production strictly on getting the vibe right, and only when that's done do I put on my engineer's hat and focus more precisely on things like leveling, EQing, arranging, and all that fun stuff. So then let me get to that, but in the meantime, I do want to take a minute and thank the sponsor for this video, DistroKid. DistroKid is a digital music distributor and the service that I've been recommending to my clients way before they ever started sponsoring my videos. With prices starting at $20 a year for unlimited uploads, it is by far the easiest and most affordable way to share your music to streaming platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, TikTok, and many more. With DistroKid, you get way more than distribution though. They also offer many extra free features that help you promote and get your music out. One of my favorites, for example, is the playlist spotlight. With this feature, you can submit your music to be voted on by the community to be placed in DistroKid's Spotify playlist. The best part is that you don't even have to be a DistroKid member to vote. Of course, DistroKid members can vote, but you can also go up here to where you've submitted your tracks and then take that public link and share it with your fans to increase your chances of landing a spot in the playlist. If you're ready to start reaching a broader audience with your music, then consider signing up to DistroKid with my link down below, or by visiting ivancalderon.com/distrokid for 7% off your first year. Okay, so as predicted, I called an audible last minute and I switched a few things around. I've also arranged the full beat here, so I'm gonna play it for you in a minute, but take a look here. For the guitar, that main riff that I played in the beginning of creating the melodic section, I took out the bass notes. They were nice and bouncy, but it was just adding too much, especially with everything else considered. So now they just sound like this. Instead of having the bass notes on the downbeat, now it's just those kind of stabs on the upbeat. I also went ahead and I added a brass to the chorus. Now the brass sounds like this. And it just kind of plays those same, two chords with a bit of a switch up at the end. And then I did add this kind of like synth that I modulated a little bit, just to kind of add a little bit of movement. The last change that I did here is I also switched up the bass, just a different sound, not really anything important, but it just kind of fit a little better with what I had going on. But okay, in terms of arrangement, we do have the chorus, which has, the guitar, those two sounds that I told you about, the modulated synth and the brass. The flute comes in on the second half, and then everything else plays, except for the strings. Those I left specifically just for the verse. Now for the verse, I did want to opt in for a more of a call and response type of structure. And if you take a look here, we have an A-B thing going on. So on the first few measures, we have the strings, we have the guitar stabs, and then we have the guitar plucking sound. On the next few measures, we take out the strings, we bring in the flute, and then that kind of just goes back and forth. And now the last thing that I did here is also played around with some drops and removing a couple things from the percussion, the drum section, because oftentimes it's not just what you add, it's what you take away to let people know like, oh, I'm in a different section of a song. So for example, right in the first few measures of the verse, I took out the shaker because I wanted to bring the energy back down. The chorus is where everything happens, and I want you to know once that's over, you're in a different section. So I took off the shaker, and I think it sounds really good. So take a listen, let me know what you think down below, but here it is. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to pick up my free 6-step guide to producing a professional beat. Thank you once again to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next one.